Welcome to episode 10 of the Toronto on Tilt Blue Jays podcast. I'm Steve Artabello with Theo Giordano and Anthony Harris. You can find our website, torontoontilt.com. You can find us on YouTube, where the video will be posted. We're on YouTube, allegedly still. Of course, Toronto on Tilt. You can find the audio of this podcast everywhere that you stream podcasts. That's going to be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, literally anywhere. Breaker, Bleaker, Anchor, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. Twitter at Toronto on Tilt. Let's just get into it. It was an interesting week. Boys, I guess we'll start with the game recaps.
Okay, so on Monday, it was Steven Matt's day against Oakland, and it didn't go very well. It was classic Steven Matz, where a lot of elevated pitches, a lot of hittable pitches, gave up a few home runs in the 5 innings, made up for the 5 runs that he gave up. They lost 5-4. The offense was all right, but it was Frankie Montas outdid Steven Matz, and he flipped out big time. He got pulled. He was telling Trell, he's like, yeah, I'm good. I can go out there for another inning. And then he's like, no, you can't. You're out. And then he immediately spikes his glove and slamming everything in his sight. You know, got to love the competitiveness, but stop giving up home runs.
Yeah, don't mind the fire. Like seeing a guy who's pissed off, but at the same time, Tanner Roark used to get pissed off when he was pulled out of games, and Tanner Roark was straight trash.
Yeah, exactly.
So rest in peace, Tanner Roark. Did he get released this week or was it?
He officially cleared waivers because no one was going to claim that money and elected free agency. He got.
Yeah, he has $10 million to sit out the rest of the year, so that's nice.
Yeah, I know. Great. So great. Oh, okay, yeah. I guess Theo.
I'm not happy right now. I'm just very annoyed with this whole situation.
So am I. We'll get there.
We'll go into game 2. Jays winning game 2 on Tuesday without Springer again, and it showed with the lifeless offense, lead to a 4-1 loss against Oakland. Cole Irvin, masterful for the A's through 8 innings, just allowed 1 run. Semien RBI double was all the Jays got. On the pitching side, we saw another really disappointing outing for Anthony Kay. He blew up in the 2nd inning, giving up 4 runs. On the plus side, the pen, even with the injuries, continued to look pretty good. Thornton and Ty Tice finished out the game without any damage or other relievers. So another, without Springer, it's at this point in the week on the Tuesday, it was that point where it was like Springer's just tired still. Like, he's not that hurt.
Yeah.
Soon, and it turned out obviously not the case.
It was infuriating. This was the part of the week where we're all sitting here being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happening? Exactly. He's tired. No, it was a scheduled off day. And God.
And for Springer, I would be so mad if the team was telling the media that he's a little tired. Like, that made him look like such a bitch. And he's literally hurt. He's an injured person, and they're like, yeah, no, he's fine. He's being a little,
this whole thing was handled so poorly.
They're just so desperate to get him on the field, and they don't care about the consequences because he's their big guy, and they want to see him play, which is not the way to do things.
Mishandled. Like, I don't know if he was calling the shots and was telling them he was good to. I don't know how this was handled, but it was mishandled. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who was calling the shots. Whoever it was wrong.
And I think it was the team, and I lean this way because I think it was Steve who said they wanted to give Springer his Semien moment. When Semien went to Oakland, you saw all the promo they were running, how much they were talking about, his return to Oakland. He had that big series. They wanted that with Springer in Houston. They wanted him to at least have his bat in the lineup and have a big moment so that they could run it on the highlights all year. And I think a lot of it was the team and him mixed, but you got to be more responsible in the fucking May situation.
Like, George is a super, competitive guy. You hear him talk, and he's like, I hate being on the injured list and all that.
That's why I wonder who drove the boat here, and that's why it was so confusing, because it seems like whoever was in charge wasn't on page with the other party. You know what I mean? Because at no point did we ever know what was going on. It was just a whole bunch of misdirection. And then he got placed on the IL. And then I guess, Tony, you picking up
Wednesday was the big comeback game where it was kind of back and forth for a while, and then the 8th inning they score 5 runs without even hitting a home run. It was just hit after hit after hit, putting the ball in play. Very anti-Blue Jays. The Monday game was kind of like that too, but Yeah.
I'd like to point out we've had this conversation, I think, when we've seen that happen. I want to say that's like the third or fourth time where like, this is weird. This looks like the 2015 Blue Jays. You know what I mean? Where it was like they didn't mind passing the baton, and you see it with Vladdy all the time. You don't necessarily see it with Bo as often. Bo wants to be the hero in every hack.
Every swing is the biggest swing of his career.
Yeah, the Greinke at bats today were like, you could tell he wanted to destroy those baseballs so badly. But yeah, no, it was a pretty wild game. Entertaining though.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pitcher too. Lou Trevino, not bad, and they just knocked him around.
That's a hell of a reliever, yeah.
And it was games you had to stay out for. Like the first two fucking sucked. You saw like the Monday game where they didn't pinch hit for Springer. Like, oh my god, like they didn't even plan on using him at all. Like you felt like you were hoodwinked watching that whole game. And then the next night there was another loss, and at least they gave us an entertaining one to end the nightcap of that West Coast trip.
Yeah, no, that was a nice. It was a nice, to cap off the night games and staying awake to try to watch the night games when they start at 9:40. Oh God! But they salvaged it as we get to the afternoon game. Theo?
Yeah, on Thursday, Jays won 10-4 to secure the split against the A's. Ryu made his return from injury. Wasn't really himself. Battled his control. Still got through 5 innings while allowing 4 runs. The offense picked up Ryu in a big way, scoring 10 runs, including homers by Simeon, Gritch, and Danny Jansen. Gritch also drove in more runs.
Don't let Danny get hot.
That's what you've been preaching it, and we got to give you a little bit of
pressing to the mean.
Yeah,
trying to be an average hitter.
Yeah.
Gritch, scored another double in the 6th inning. He's still hitting well. And then Teoscar made one of the worst errors I've ever seen. The ball just went under his legs.
Through his little league. And the worst part about that, I just want to say, watching that happen, like as it built up live, was just like, oh wow, look at Teoscar. He's getting down on one knee, he's making the right play, like he's getting his body in front of the ball, like he's doing the fundamentals. Picks his glove up at the last second, and the ball rolls under, and you're just like, what? How do you do all those things right and then do that?
And it was the perfect Teoscar game because, like, the next inning, he hits the 2-run RBI single, and it's what he is. He'll do that, but he'll hit. So,
yep.
The bullpen again was good. Virgin Pamps, 2 scoreless innings, and a nice win on Getaway Day in a series that felt like the team was falling apart. We saw, I think David Phelps got hurt in one of those games. It might have been
warmed up, didn't even get in. I think it was the night game. I think it was the comeback, the night game.
I think
Phelps,
it was Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, Phelps warmed up through, I think, 2 warm-up pitches, and that was it. Called it. He ended up having, I think it's lat tightness. I believe that was what they diagnosed him with, so that was a problem.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that, where they come back from commercial on a guy warming up to start a game. I don't know the last time I ever saw that.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, it was this bolt, like the amount of injuries is just, oh God. It's starting to be comical
today too. With DeGrom weren't throwing pitches between innings and the back injury.
His lat actually, it was a lat injury that he had missed his last start because of flared up.
That's not good.
Nope. I mean, the Mets are the Mets, and the whole raccoon or rat thing was just.
They had a fun
I know
weekend.
We're not a Mets podcast, and if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it. Google, Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil, because they definitely got into a fight in the tunnel.
Someone said it reminded them of the John Gibbons and John Donaldson.
Oh, the Lily?
When they got in that fight.
Wait.
And they were screaming. He's like, "Oh, it's my cologne."
Oh,
they was asking about my cologne. It wasn't
the bat rack one. Yeah.
When he just chucked his bat into the dugout with people standing around.
And
Speaking of fiery players,
Gibby yelled at him, and then they said that it was some kind of cologne thing, and they had both the exact same bullshit where it was clearly it was clear that both of them just blew up. Both of them didn't actually hate each other, and it was like, okay, how can we just try to make this go away?
Clubhouse leader Tulowitzki made sure nothing happened.
Tulo broke it up, kept it from erupting into something more. No big deal.
I don't know. There is no Tulo on the Mets, though.
No, there is not, unfortunately.
And this is the problem. Anyways, I guess back to the Jays, and then they headed to Houston without George Springer, who is on the IL. Awesome. Great.
Yes. So Friday, the score was 10-4 in the other direction. 10-4 for the Astros. Jose Urquidy was lights out for 7 innings. But really, this was a game where the Blue Jay pitching did not do their job. Ross Stripling kind of did what he always kind of does. He 3 2/3, 3 earned runs, and it could have been a lot worse. He got really lucky on that Alvarez bases loaded, strikeout looking. That curveball he threw to him was so far off the plate. He got very lucky with that. But then the bullpen came in and made it even worse. Ty Tice came in. Well, first Tim Meza, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. Ty Tice comes in, 2 earned runs, inning and a third. And then Dolis doesn't get 1 out, gives up 2 earned runs.
And is now on the IL.
Yes, that was his last appearance. Now he's on the IL.
Calf strain, IL. Apparently he wasn't going to go on the IL because, again, this team, like, I get it. You know what I mean? The team, like, teams don't owe anyone an accurate injury update, blah, 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 blah. The Blue, like, this is ridiculous. Like, if they say that a guy is fine, just like, I assume that you're going to have to amputate. You know what I mean? Because who's the last guy they said is fine that's actually been fine?
Well, Ray, I guess, kind of. He only missed like 1 start.
Ryu missed a start, but they said he wasn't going to miss any.
They said he wasn't going to miss a start, and then he missed a start.
Yeah.
Ray, they said was like, fine and still missed a start.
The only guy they were like honest about was Merriweather, and they said he's going to be a few weeks away, and now he's out for it. That was the only one.
Yes. Well, now Julian Merriweather is back to being Julian Merriweather, where it's just like, okay, he's awesome for like the seconds that we see him. And instead of being on like a backfield somewhere where he threw 103, we saw him like K-ing guys in the big leagues. Now he's just gone again.
Yeah.
But don't worry. Like, this bullpen just pumps guys out because AJ Cole's back and he's just striking dudes out because this bullpen is ridiculous. The organization breaks pitchers and Pete Walker somehow gets them off the scrap heap and throws them out there and they work. Travis Bergen out here looking like fucking poor man's Jake McGee was a comparison I actually saw on Twitter. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, I'll let you guys get back to it.
Speaking of that Stripling, how much do you miss Taijuan Walker seeing Stripling go out there?
So much.
Yeah.
So my, just to consider, like, being able to go and watching him for the Mets, like, be able to do what you would just hope he could do here, go 5 or 6 innings of competent baseball, you know, with this offense
nice.
that at times can do things, you know, that'd be nice.
Throwing upper 90s looks great.
Our rotation looks so much better with him right now, but
it would.
We can get into this Saturday game here. The Jays won 8-4 to even up the series against the Astros. Matz made the start for the Jays better than his last few starts, but still not great.
And not all his fault either, though.
That home run, pretty unlucky. Houston special.
Yeah.
You know, that's just going to happen at that stadium with the Alvarez home run. But he still
defensive plays not made. Biggio again at third base with the double clutch. Should have been a double play. Leads to runs. You know what I mean? Like, Matz in the other 2 starts, those were bad. Those looked like bad Steven Matz from New York, and that was concerning. Both of those starts were the first one against the Nats I wasn't super worried about because I'm like, okay, this is a team that's seen him a ton. The second one was just against Oakland was more just like, okay. All right, this isn't great. And then this one against Houston, he looked like he was back. And then just, you know, again, unlucky he had the Houston special, the Crawford box home run. And then, you know, the play's not made defensively behind him, which that's going to be a theme.
You look at it, though, 6 innings, 5 innings, or 3 runs, 5 innings of work. You'll take it, yeah. Offense did its job, though. Danny Jansen, Kevin Biggio in front of his dad, both homered. Gritch hit a 2-run double, and Simeon had one of the cheapest insurance home runs you're ever going to see, 349 feet.
The expected batting average on that for stats people was 0.40. That's a home run. It was literally a home run in no other place other than Houston. It's like the short porch at Yankee Stadium. It's the same thing.
They deserved it, though. Like, we needed that redemption.
No, it was amazing to have that happen back to them.
Yeah. And then the pen, you know, battered, bruised, still doing its thing. Chatwood, Romano, Bergen, holding the Astros to 1 run over 4 innings. So overall, it was nice to get at least that one game in the series. And
today, I guess, Tony, you can get right to it. I was super excited for Nate Pearson Day.
Yeah, today it was Nate Pearson Day. We were super pumped. It was also Zach Greinke Day, so we were like, maybe we'll get some pitching, you know, back and forth. But Nate Pearson pulled an Anthony Harris today, couldn't throw a fastball for a strike, save his life, all over the place. He got the first out and then ball,
Six
ball,
straight
ball.
balls.
Yeah, nonstop. Couldn't stop throwing pitches out, fastballs that were not competitive pitches whatsoever. Bregman almost hit a home run in the first inning, but he got away with it.
Well, that Bregman one, the Bregman one was a good pitch because he just went up and into Bregman. You know what I mean? And Bregman couldn't handle it and flew it out because he knocked the bat out of Altuve's. Okay, so here's the thing about Nate Pearson. He does things like when he literally knocked the bat out of Jose Altuve's hands with a fastball. And it's not like he threw it 102. It was 95, but he knocked the fucking bat out of his hands. When's the last time you've seen that in baseball? Seriously, when's the last time you've seen that?
I don't know.
Right? And Altuve might be struggling this year, but that's still Jose Altuve. Like, that's not something you see often. So that was infuriating, and he wasn't ready. And we were talking about it, like, why did he get sent to the minors? What, he's just not good enough? Like, what the hell is going on? And then there was talk of a mechanical adjustment. And now you're kind of starting to see a guy who's working through something, and it's quite apparent that he's working through something. And it also doesn't help, when Rowdy Tellez lets that ball go right through his fucking legs. Because that was
pretty hard.
That was a hard hit ball, though.
No one likes fielding less than Rowdy Tellez. It's very obvious. He does not put.
Because that going through his legs was just infuriating. Because don't get me wrong, again, Pearson was bad, but that could have been a double play ball. Could have ended the inning. You know what I mean? And it's funny now we're getting to the point where you're like, yeah, Vlad makes that play, which is hilarious.
A superstar. He's a Gold Glove right now.
See the jumps he was making? Some of the air Vlad out here.
I expect him to make every play. That's how
he's ridiculous right now. He's so good. But like with Nate Pearson, we kind of talked about this with Vlad and Pearson, right? Like Pearson had to be what was as advertised, and he's not right now. So now the interesting thing is, what do they do?
Because he's having the same control issues as last year in the majors, and we don't have the luxury of putting him down. We need to have him pitch up here because what are we gonna have more Tanner Roark? We can bring him back, like Ross Stripling outings. Like these aren't any better. So he's got to just kind of learn this on the fly. And
do you want to get right into Alek Manoah? Do you want to start talking about it right now?
The hype,
you want to just get right into it?
The hype train has just been built to the absolute brim right now.
Well, we have to mention that Anthony Kay sucked again today too. Out of the bullpen, gave up 3 runs in 2 innings.
And that could have been a lot worse if the Astros didn't run into out. It looked like Luis Rivera was at third base.
We got to give Lourdes some. So I know we're going all over the place here, but Lourdes deserves a little credit for his arm. That flat-footed throw he made on Saturday was ridiculous.
You can say a lot of things about Lourdes Gurriel. The routes to the balls might not be the best. He might be a wildly inconsistent hot or cold hitter. The dude has a hose in left field.
Yeah.
And the fact that people to this day continue to test that is hilarious to me. And I get it. He's flat-footed. And against most guys in left field, you're like, yeah, he's flat-footed. I'm going to go take home. Especially when you're Miles Straw and you're that fast. That throw was unbelievable. Like, absolutely unbelievable. But the only arm I want to see more than that is Alek Manoah. But yes, you can get
just into it. Spew your Alek Manoah because you really want to back this.
Here's the thing. I wanted to see Nate Pearson first, and Manoah was great in spring training, but I'm figuring how good is that really? You know what I mean? And then, of course, his first appearance in AAA, his first appearance above A ball, that's not spring training, he goes 6 innings, strikes out 13, and doesn't walk a batter. Now, he hit 3 guys. But wouldn't that be nice right now?
I mean,
couldn't you use that?
I don't know. He has doesn't have much experience yet, though. He needs a little more, though.
I'm so nervous about any of the, especially like Pearson. We saw how he looked in the minors and how it's transitioning. The thing with these minor league pitchers and comparing them to minor league hitters usually come up and figure it out a lot quicker. Pitchers, it takes so much longer. And I'm at the point where when we get to that, we're at that window now, but when we're in the middle of our winning window, I just want to get a bunch of veteran pitchers and just deal with it like that.
Well, that's ideally what's going to happen is by the time this team's really going, like Nate Pearson has struggled through, like he's had this season to essentially work it out. Because here's the thing, because I know I'm getting excited about Alek Manoah, and I know it kind of sounds like I'm like, Nate Pearson, throw him aside. And this new shiny toy that's Alek Manoah. The truth is, there's a reason Nate Pearson is the number 2 pitching prospect in all of baseball for a reason. Like, there's a reason. And you saw it at times today. Like, there were sequences, and it would be a string of 4 pitches where you'd see him throw, like, 2 fastballs, 98 on the outside corner and dot it. You know what I mean? And then you'd see that big curveball or that 89-mile-an-hour wicked slider. Like, you could see it. But you also have to realize this is a guy that's got, 111 like minor league innings under his belt? And it's like I've talked about with Bo Bichette. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Everyone gets really angry at Bo and his defense. Again, I keep saying this. Go look at Fernando Tatis Jr. Just go look at his defense. Phenomenally exciting, but look at his defense. It's the same thing with pitchers like this. And what Theo was talking about is minor league hitters, and everyone like Schulman was talking about it today in the broadcast. He's never struggled with command. It's because he throws 102 sometimes. Guys are swinging before he's even, you know what I mean? Before he's even in his windup, guys are ready to swing.
You saw Pearson, too, start with a lot of sliders, and I was not happy with that a lot because it's like these Astros are not going to swing at these. None of these pitches have been close. They're not going to swing at a first pitch slider.
No team's going to swing at that.
Exactly.
I think the problem there is he threw so many fastballs early and he had no control of it that they went with another pitch to hope that he could. But at that point, I agree with you. Like you can't throw that because exactly, you know what I mean? When you're wild, you kind of have to throw the fastball until you get it over. And the most frustrating thing about that Nate Pearson start is even when you could tell he was taking something off it because he's throwing 94 and 95 when he couldn't really, like when he was out of it. And you were seeing guys not be able to square that ball up. Like you were starting to see the contact on those fastballs, and those weren't full Nate Pearson that you started to hear about in the minor leagues of guys that just couldn't hit it.
Yeah, like even to their catcher, Houston. We said it before, like just throw him 3 fastballs down the middle, and they threw him a fastball right down the middle, couldn't get his.
Exactly, he was late on. He fired it straight up into the air. Yeah. And to be honest, Yordan Alvarez, I hate because he should have been out twice because Nate fooled him twice on curveballs, and he just blooped him into the outfield.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's why Yordan Alvarez though is a mutant who hits 340 and has. Gonna hit like 40, like he's a mutant. So there's no really other way to put it. Like he hits baseballs like Vlad finally does. Remember when he came up and everyone like that was the year Vlad came up and everyone was like, okay, Vlad's gonna win the Rookie of the Year or maybe Eloy, and then it was Yordan Alvarez and it wasn't close. He's pretty ridiculous, and you saw it in this series, but. I guess long story short with Nate is this was infuriating. I don't know what they're going to do if they're going to let him figure it out at the big league level, but this stuff is real. You know what I mean? And if he's working through the mechanical thing, that's a more encouraging reason for the wildness than,
injury.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Because him being like jacked up, super excited. Like, I just got to go throw hard.
That's part of that makes me wonder what he'll be like in start 2 when he can like just breathe. Because last year in start 2, he got hurt basically. Because remember he said he was hurt and then tried to pitch again anyways. Right. Yeah. So that's maybe he does calm down and maybe you start to see the easy cheese. So, and again, here's the thing. This is kind of where you're at with the Jays. Do you want to see Ross Stripling or do you want to see Nate Pearson?
Do you want to see Anthony Kay make starts? Like that's the problem. Do
you want to see those guys or do you want to see Nate Pearson try?
Yeah, if Anthony Kay was good, I don't think we'd be having we could easily have him, spend a month in the minors.
Exactly.
And if Hatch was healthy, these are things we don't have luxury of.
The Hatch one is the big one. Because we all said it last season during the season. How good did he look? Really? And that he looked like a starter.
Looked great.
So that one's been a big pick for the team, but I don't know. I'd be calm.
We should have your answer. Do you want Manoah up right now, or do you think?
I almost want to see it just because of how good he's been. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a nerd. I have the MILB TV package, so I'll be watching his next start. I'll literally watch the start. But here's the thing. I watched Nate starts, and they don't have the strike zone thing, so you can't tell what's on the borderline. And again, Nate throws so hard that when you would watch him in Buffalo, it wasn't really fair because guys would just be swinging all over the place. Like, he dominated them, and because you can't it's so different when you don't see the strike box, how little of you kind of know what the strike zone is, but when he's just chucking heat and guys are swinging like crazy.
And I'm assuming minor league umpires are giving him every benefit of the doubt.
Back in the day when he was coming through the minor leagues and he was doing those like 2 and 5 inning starts, yeah, because he was also like, we haven't really seen Nate be Nate, because when he's working, he's not slow either. Like Nate gets it and chucks it 100 at you, and it's something to watch. Like it's just, he gives me very much like Justin Verlander vibes, right? Like a guy who, like when you saw him when he was pitching well, you haven't seen it in the big leagues yet. When he pitches well, there's a lot of swagger. There's a lot of strut. There's a lot of K struts. Like when he gets guys, like he's feeling it. And that's when you would see his velo go nuts too. Kind of like Justin Verlander. You'd see the one-on-ones. He could get
like stronger as the game went on. And
exactly. And you saw it in this one too. Later in the game.
Yeah. 98 a few times, yeah.
50 pitches in, you started seeing 98, right? So if he can harness that, he can get into the 6th and 7th inning and he's at 70, 80 pitches, right? Like he's a freak like that. When I watched him in the minor leagues, he was the dude who got stronger later in games. You know what I mean? He's just, there's still a lot to be excited about because again, he could be that guy. So we'll see. And Manoah, the reason I say this is just because here's the thing, man. 13 strikeouts, 6 innings, no walks. Like, again, he hit 3 guys, but here's the thing. What are we going to watch?
Let's trade
Do you want to keep saying Stripling? Because at this point, I'm kind of like, let's try and figure it out. Let's see what these guys
trade a pack of baseballs for Luis Castillo right now, the way he's going.
Yeah, he stinks now, so we can get him for cheap.
Now. Get him for nothing.
Yeah, the Reds aren't going to trade him because he's got more control left, so they'll just hold on to it, hope he bounces back. Castillo's also like an even season, odd season, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has like a year where he's like the Cy Young winner, and then he can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's what's happened. Yeah. Every other year.
My problem is that they're gonna, just have to rush him out for necessity and fuck him over. And I really, as a guy who's excited about him too, I do not want to see 2 guys who are very excited about struggling in the major league level when they're not, really ready for that yet. But
like they were never planning on bringing him up this year.
No, Manoah forced the organization's hand with what he did in spring, and if he keeps doing this in AAA, I don't think there's going to be, if he has a second start like that first start, like if he goes 6 innings again and strikes out 10 more guys, what the hell do you think's going to happen? Yeah. The way this team needs arms, and think about it, like with the bullpen as hurt as they are, like. I gotta find the tweet. There's only like 4 guys left on the 40-man roster that are pitching.
AJ Cole's gonna be making like setup appearances.
Did you see how good he was today?
I know. Actually? So I'm saying he's gonna be the guy. he's already earned that spot now.
I'm not gonna lie. AJ Cole looked fine today. So
yeah,
it's like it's wild that they can still make this work, right? That they throw Travis Bergen out there and he looks good. So
Arizona just gave away for nothing.
Well, that's kind of where we're at. Like it's wild that we're May 9th. It's Mother's Day, and we're at the point where we're like, I don't call up the dude who's never pitched above A because they just don't have the bodies. Like we talked about this when they didn't get the starting pitchers, that this was going to be an issue. You know what I mean? And hey, Ray's been better than we thought, and Matz has had moments, but Ryu's already been on the IL once, and Nate needs to be Nate. And that's not happening yet. And there's so much of the season left that there's plenty of time for him to work his way into it. But it's got to happen. You know what I mean? Especially with all the guys. Like,
what's Anthony Bass up to?
Is he even in the big?
He's on the Marlins.
I think he blew
the
first game of the year.
He lost the closer job.
Yeah, he was bad to start the year.
Anthony Bass, baseball pitcher.
He had a moment, and then it wasn't good.
Such a great guy. So many positive tweets every day.
Yeah, last 7
Anthony
games.
Big for those
he's been good the
tweets.
last. Oh, his whip's not. Yeah, okay. He hasn't been great. He's not been good actually. His last 15 games is 5.40 ERA and his 1.63 whip. That's a problem. It's a problem. 7 earned runs and 11 2/3 innings pitched. Anthony Bass ain't doing great, but who knows? Who knows? It's the bullpen. It's voodoo. It's wizardry.
Take the Anthony Bass, Luis Castillo reclamation projects.
Luis Castillo's not a reclamation project. I don't know. There's this. It's still wild to me that this team is managing to tread water and they're above 500 with all these injuries.
It feels like the rest of baseballs. Are they getting hurt this much? Does it
I
feel
don't
like the
There's
whole
a lot
That's
of
the
big
thing.
stars getting hurt this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with a friend. Like, this is insane now with the Blue Jays. The injuries. You know what I mean? Like they do lead the league in transactions. You know,
And
Buck
can
was
I
talking
say,
about that.
it's not going to get the recognition from the national media because it isn't Bo or Vlad or guys like that. It's those pieces that are so important to this bullpen rotation that like you're not really going to hear every day. That's the biggest
Exactly.
issue for the Jays, though. That's the biggest strength.
They're focusing on the Springer injury that their $150 million man's not there. They've also lost like 3 closers and they've lost an entire bullpen. Honestly,
And I say it I almost rather have the 3 relievers back than Springer at this point because I think the offense can tread water at this point.
I don't know.
I know it's a hot take.
Springer on one quad was out here hitting fucking.
I know. I just with the way the team's built right now and the way the bullpen is ravaged and the way our rotation can't go deep into games.
I know they could use the 3 relievers more than they could use the extra bat, but it's still, oh God, it's wild. You know what I mean? Like this team they're treading water because it seems like Vladdy's basically dragging them there, and he's even cooled down. Like it's funny, and then he picks up a hit today. Like he starts kind of getting back into it. It's funny because even though Vladdy wasn't hitting, did he look like he was struggling at all? Still out there making great plays at first base. Like this is the Vladdy we've promised. That I'm kind of confident. Like I know it's early, but I mean he looks different. Yeah. Like very different. So that's encouraging.
And we got Teoscar's looking pretty good too. Putting some looking
He
back.
seems like he's rounding into form. He had a great game today, actually.
Yeah.
He was early on when no one was on Greinke. He hit that
he started that whole inning.
He's starting to get hot. Lourdes, we talked.
He's the new guy where Pat Tabler will be like every at bat. When this guy gets going, this offense, like that's the new guy. We got it.
Yeah, Lourdes is not hot at all these days. He looks horrible.
Also, we need Buck back because Tabler is.
Well, you know that. Good. Well, so Pat Tabler does all the road games, right?
I know, and so Buck does all games. I know. It's just, this is painful. It's really painful. I forgot how bad it was when they like nix him in, and it's getting to the point too where it's funny where you can almost see like Schulman doesn't care anymore because he's not even talking to him half the time or acknowledging his bullshit.
I was listening to one of the games on the radio, like just out back, just to like have the game on. He talks through so many pitches that like someone will have to catch up later, and it's like
you have no idea what the count is on the radio when Tabler's talking. You know what I mean? Like an out can happen, you'll have no idea, and then he's just like, 0-1, or like Schulman will be like 0-1 to the new batter, and you're like,
it's not his fault. Like he's a TV guy, he's not used to this. This is a Rogers issue that we should be upset with them about.
Yeah,
but it is fucked up that we have to deal with this.
It's terrible. It's so bad. Anything else you guys really wanted to get into this week?
What do we got this week?
I think we got the Braves coming up on the road.
They're heading to Atlanta. That's the beginning of the series. Hopefully they beat the hell out of them.
I'm excited to see Ryu hit.
Oh yeah, he was doing some BP the other day.
Under on Ryu swings because I'm like 0.5 is what I'm setting it at because I don't think he swings.
I think he swings.
You can take that bet.
He'd swing.
All right, we might have to put a little.
It might not be like you're not gonna put a Bo Bichette effort behind it, but he's gonna.
I don't think he's gonna swing. I'm dead serious. I don't think he's gonna.
What did he do with the Dodgers? Did he have any memorable hits there?
170 hitter, wasn't he?
I don't know, but
I don't know about that.
2 Janie Jansons.
But yeah, they got a couple of National League opponents. They play. They're gonna play Atlanta and then they host Philly. So we'll see Bryce Harper and the boys.
Fun.
Yeah,
take advantage of that bullpen.
We're gonna get Nola then.
Oh Christ, probably.
He pitches tonight, so we get Nola.
Yes, we are gonna get. Oh God, that's gonna be great, Aaron Nola. That's just what this offense needs.
I'll give a little tests. Get ready for the rest of the way. We crushed Scherzer. We crushed Greinke. So
I was just about to say like Vladdy versus Nola is actually gonna be awesome, considering what he did to Scherzer. Like I started to think about that when you. Yeah, no, this is actually going to be awesome to watch.
Just wonder he's gonna be up against. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and we'll see. Does Big Nate get another start? There's off days. I've been going back and forth on this.
We can't do bullpen
that's the thing. I've been going back and forth on this because if he's making a mechanical adjustment, like that's almost something you'd rather him do in the minors. But yeah, at this point, he's kind of got to figure it out here because they don't have many options. Really, he kind of has to figure it out. So we'll see. Hopefully it works. But that's it. That's all for this week of the Toronto on Tilt Blue Jays podcast. I'm Steve Artabello with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. Till next week, we'll just pray that Big Nate is still with the team and this goes better. I don't know. See you guys.
10 Ks next game.
Oh, also, just get that in there. Houston